Have you ever felt like you were born in the wrong era? As if your soul carries the silent, dusty memories of centuries past, making the frantic, glittering noise of the modern world almost unbearable? You look around and feel a strange sense of detachment, like a time traveler observing a foreign culture, understanding the language but not the meaning. This feeling is not escapism. It is not a romantic fantasy. According to the profound psychology of Carl Jung, it may be the clearest sign that your soul is, in fact, too ancient for this world. Now, this isn't about chronological age or past lives in a literal sense. It's about a depth of consciousness. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, a vast, shared reservoir of human memory and experience. He discovered that some individuals are born with a psyche that has greater access to this ancient, timeless realm. They are, in essence, more connected to the deep, slow-moving river of human history that flows beneath the choppy surface of the present moment. But here is the hidden truth, the paradox that Jung uncovered. These old souls are not necessarily more evolved. They are, in fact, psyches with what he would describe as thinner boundaries between the conscious mind and the vast collective unconscious. This is both a profound gift and a heavy curse. The gift is an innate access to wisdom, a deep understanding of human patterns that others do not see. The curse is that once you have tasted that depth, you can no longer tolerate the illusion of the surface. You can no longer ignore the superficiality of the modern world. And this inability to participate in the collective illusion first manifests in your social life. The very first sign that your soul is ancient is a visceral, gut-level rejection of something that everyone else considers completely normal. Let's explore that first sign. Sign 1. You've never truly belonged. From your earliest memories, have you always felt like a spectator, never a full participant? In the schoolyard, at family gatherings, at parties, even within your closest circle of friends, you are physically present, but a part of you remains separate, observing, analyzing, never quite merging with the group. You can play the part, say the right things, laugh at the right times, but deep down, there is a persistent feeling of being on the outside looking in. This is the first sign of an ancient soul. You have never, ever felt like you truly belonged to anything. An ancient soul doesn't reject people, it rejects roles. It refuses to participate in the social theater. While others are busy performing their assigned parts, the funny one, the rebel, the peacemaker, your soul is searching for something else entirely. It's looking for a connection of essence, a recognition that goes deeper than shared interests or social status. It's looking for a resonance, not a role. You might have spent years believing you were just shy or antisocial, or that there was something fundamentally wrong with you. But the truth is that your psyche is operating in a state of profound energy conservation. For an ancient soul, superficial interactions are not just boring, they are energetically depleting. It's like trying to run an incredibly complex, sophisticated piece of software on a primitive 8-bit computer. The system overheats, it lags, it crashes. It's not a flaw, it's a fundamental incompatibility. This relentless search for depth isn't just social. It manifests as a hunger for a very specific kind of knowledge. This leads us to the second sign, a wisdom you seem to possess without knowing how you acquired it. Sign 2. You possess a wisdom you can't explain. Have you ever found yourself simply knowing things you never formally learned? It's not about trivia or academic facts. It's a deeper kind of knowing. You find yourself offering advice to friends that is wise beyond your years. You look at complex human situations, a conflict at work, a failing relationship, and you instantly see the underlying pattern, the hidden dynamic that everyone else is missing. You have an innate understanding of the cycles of life and death, of love and loss, that seems to come from a place far older than your own personal experience. This is the second sign of an ancient soul. You are a vessel for an unearned, innate wisdom. This can be a confusing, even isolating experience. People might comment on how mature you are, but they don't understand the weight that comes with it. It's the feeling of having an old person's mind in a young person's body, of carrying a quiet gravity while your peers are still caught up in the fleeting dramas of the surface. You might not have read the great philosophers, but you understand their conclusions instinctively. You might not have lived through great historical tragedies, but you feel their echoes in the present. Jung would say this is the self, your true timeless essence, beginning to manifest through your conscious personality. But where does this profound wisdom actually come from? The New Age explanation might be past lives, but Jung proposed something even more extraordinary, something grounded in the very architecture of the human psyche. He theorized that you are not just an individual mind, but that you are connected to the collective unconscious, the vast, ancient repository of every experience, every myth, every triumph, and every sorrow our species has ever known. You are not remembering one of your own past lives. You are accessing the living memory of humanity itself. You are a library card holder to the great library of the human soul. Accessing this library, however, has a powerful and often painful side effect. You don't just tap into the collective wisdom, you also tap into the collective pain. And the inability to shield yourself from that pain is what leads us directly to the third, and perhaps most challenging sign. Sign 3. You feel the world suffering as your own. Does a news story about a distant tragedy leave you feeling paralyzed for hours? Does the sight of a stranger crying on the street cause a physical ache in your own chest? The third sign of an ancient soul is that the boundary between your own suffering and the suffering of the world is almost non-existent. It is thin, porous, and often completely dissolves. For most people, empathy is an act of observation. They see someone in pain and think, that must be terrible for them. For you, it is an act of absorption. You don't just see the pain, you feel it. It enters your system, it metabolizes in your own body. You feel the collective anxiety as a knot in your own stomach, the collective grief as a weight on your own shoulders. You are an emotional empath on a global scale, and in a world saturated with suffering, this can feel like an unbearable curse. You may have been told your whole life that you need to toughen up, or learn not to take things so personally. You may have tried to build walls, to create distance, to numb yourself, but it never truly works. This isn't a flaw in your psychological defenses, a failure to set boundaries. It is a fundamental function of your being. Your profound empathy is not a weakness. It is a highly advanced psychic radar system. You feel the pain of the world so acutely because, on the deepest level, your soul knows the fundamental truth that the modern world is built to deny. There is no real separation. You are not just an individual. You are a nerve ending of the planet itself. You are the part of the collective immune system that feels precisely where the infection lies. And in order to protect yourself from this constant influx of pain, your soul instinctively begins to reject that which is trivial, false, and meaningless. It begins a desperate search for what is real. And this search is our fourth sign. Sign 4. You crave depth over quantity. You have 500 friends on social media, but you feel utterly and completely alone. You're in a crowded room, surrounded by laughter and conversation, but a profound sense of isolation washes over you. The fourth sign of an ancient soul is this deep, almost allergic aversion to superficiality. You don't want 500 connections. You want one real conversation. This manifests as a physical intolerance for small talk. The polite chatter about the weather, office gossip, or celebrity news feels like nails on a chalkboard to your soul. It's not that you think you are better than these topics. It's that they feel profoundly, painfully meaningless. While others seem to navigate these social rituals with ease, you feel like you are suffocating, desperate for a lifeline of substance in an ocean of triviality. You crave conversations that matter, relationships built on shared vulnerability, and connections that touch the core of who you are. This isn't arrogance or intellectual snobbery. It is a matter of psychic nutrition. For an ancient soul, Superficial interactions are the equivalent of junk food. They might fill the time, they might look appealing on the surface, but they leave your soul feeling starved, malnourished, and sick. You are not just seeking deep conversations for entertainment, you are seeking them for sustenance. You instinctively know that your energy and well-being depend on being nourished by authenticity, truth, and genuine human connection. And where does an ancient soul find this kind of substance? Rarely in the day-to-day chatter of the modern world. It finds it in the great, timeless questions that most people spend their lives trying to avoid. And that is the fifth sign. Sign 5. You're fascinated by timeless, profound subjects. While everyone around you is absorbed in the latest viral trend, the newest streaming series, or the endless cycle of political outrage, your mind naturally drifts elsewhere. It wanders to the nature of consciousness, the meaning of life, the mysteries of the cosmos, the patterns of history, what happens after we die. The fifth sign of an ancient soul is your unshakable fascination with that which is eternal, not that which is temporary. From a young age, you've likely been drawn to the big questions. You find comfort in philosophy, psychology, ancient history, mythology, and spirituality. These aren't just interests, they feel like home. While others might see these subjects as abstract or irrelevant, for you, they are the only things that feel truly real. They speak a language that resonates with a deep, quiet part of you that the modern world never acknowledges. This isn't just an intellectual hobby or a quirky personality trait. It is your soul attempting to find the instruction manual for itself. In these timeless subjects, it recognizes its own language, its own origins. It feels a sense of belonging that it cannot find in contemporary culture. Exploring the wisdom of the Stoics, the archetypes of Jung, or the teachings of the Buddha isn't just learning, it's an act of remembering. It's like finding a map written in your native tongue after a lifetime spent lost in a foreign land. And this feeling of coming home to ancient themes can often be accompanied by strange, fleeting feelings of familiarity, as if you've walked these intellectual and spiritual paths before. This uncanny sense of recognition is the doorway to the sixth sign. Sign 6. You feel like you've lived other lives. Have you ever experienced a moment of déjà vu so intense it stops you in your tracks? Or had a dream of a different time and place that felt more real than your waking life? Have you ever met a complete stranger and felt an instant, inexplicable shock of recognition, a feeling that you have known them for 1,000 years? The sixth sign of an ancient soul is this persistent, intuitive feeling that your journey did not begin with this single lifetime. These are not just fanciful daydreams. They are profound psychic experiences. It's the feeling of visiting a country you've never been to and instinctively knowing your way around. It's the unexplainable emotional connection you feel to a certain historical period, a piece of art, or a style of music that feels like a memory. It's the soulmate connection, that deep, silent recognition in another's eyes that says, "Ah, there you are. I've been looking for you." Jung had a specific term for these moments. He called them numinous experiences, powerful, awe-inspiring moments where the eternal self, your timeless essence, erupts into your temporal, everyday consciousness. From his perspective, you are not literally remembering a specific past life as a Roman soldier or an Egyptian priestess. You are, in fact, having a direct experience of your own eternal nature. You are being given a momentary glimpse of the totality of your being, which exists outside of linear time. And once you have had even a fleeting glimpse of eternity, the frantic urgency and manufactured importance of the modern world begins to seem absurd. The deadlines, the social pressures, the pursuit of fleeting status, it all becomes exhausting. And this isn't a normal, end-of-the-week tiredness. It's a specific, soul-deep weariness that leads us directly to the seventh sign. Sign 7. You are tired of the world. Have you ever felt a weariness so profound it seems to emanate from your very bones, from the marrow of your soul? It isn't sleepiness. It's a deep, existential tiredness. A tiredness of the world. The seventh sign of an ancient soul is this state of profound existential exhaustion. It's the exhaustion that comes from the constant noise, both literal and psychic. The endless chatter, the relentless stream of information, the manufactured outrage, the pressure to be constantly available, constantly performing. It's the exhaustion of having to translate your depth into shallow terms so that others can understand you. It's the exhaustion of pretending to care about things that feel utterly meaningless. It's the exhaustion of holding a quiet, ancient frequency while being bombarded by the loud, chaotic static of the modern world. For you, silence is not an absence of sound. It is a nutrient. Nature is not a backdrop for a selfie. It is a place of profound communion and recharging. Solitude is not a punishment. It is a vital necessity. You find yourself instinctively pulling away, seeking quiet corners, deep forests, and empty rooms. Not because you dislike people, but because you are desperately trying to hear yourself think, to feel your own energy again without the constant interference. This profound weariness is not a sign that you are giving up on life. It is a sign that your soul is demanding a different kind of fuel. It can no longer run on the low-grade fuel of external validation, social conformity, and superficial distraction. It is now crying out for the high-octane fuel of silence, of purpose, of nature, of authentic connection. This need for a new fuel source leads you to an unavoidable conclusion: that your lifelong attempt to be normal has been a slow-acting form of self-poisoning. And your failure to be normal is, in fact, your greatest success. This is the eighth and final sign. Sign 8. You tried to be normal and you failed. You tried. You really, truly tried. You tried to care about the things everyone else cares about. You forced yourself to laugh at the jokes, to get invested in the gossip, to follow the script of a normal life. You tried to shrink yourself down, to dim your own light, to fit into the neat little boxes that society provides. And you failed. Miserably. The eighth and final sign of an ancient soul is your glorious, spectacular failure to be normal. No matter how hard you tried, something in you always resisted. Something always overflowed. Your questions were always too deep. Your feelings were always too intense. Your silence was always too loud. You could wear the mask, but you could never become it. This failure is not a mark of shame. It is the ultimate proof of your authenticity. It is the victory of your soul over your conditioning. The journey of the ancient soul is not about learning to fit in. It is about finally giving yourself permission to stand out. It is the journey of abandoning the ill-fitting character you were trying to play and finally allowing your true self to take center stage. You did not come here to blend in. You came here to remember, and in doing so, to remind the world of the depth, the silence, and the wisdom it has forgotten. And as you embrace this truth, the painful ache of isolation begins to transform into the quiet, unshakable peace of sovereignty. The desperate search for a home out there finally ends, because you learn to build a sanctuary inside yourself. And when you do, you begin to meet the others. The other lighthouses in the dark. There are no words needed. There is no need to explain. There is only a quiet, instant look of recognition in their eyes that says, "I remember too." Being an old soul in a new world is a challenging, often lonely path, but it is a profoundly meaningful one. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 8 signs resonates most deeply with your own life's experience? Is there a sign you would add to this list? Share your wisdom in the comments below. And if you felt at home in this video, if you felt seen, then subscribe. Let's continue to walk this path of remembrance together.